What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Damien After Dark. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe and let me know in the comments what future reality shows that you want me to review, okay? Today's show is The Real Housewives of Potomac. We're reviewing season 6, episode 9, High Infidelity is the name of this episode. I'm a little late on this episode, but thank you for being patient. Thank you for those who are tuning in, those who are subscribing, commenting. I really appreciate y'all. You don't go unnoticed. If I don't comment back to you right away, I promise you I'll try to get back to your comment. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart for the support, so I can continue to keep making videos for you all. So, this episode starts, and it is at Mia's house, and Mia's telling her husband about how she's planning to go have drinks and lunch or dinner with her mother. Now, if you remember, Mia's storyline this season is that she's trying to reconnect and have a relationship with her mother who struggled with drug addiction, and that led to them having an estranged relationship. So we later on in the episode, we're going to talk about when her and her mom meet up. Okay, so then we go to Wendy's house, and Wendy's sitting in her bedroom. Her husband comes in, Eddie, and she talks to him a little bit about what happened in Williamsburg. And if you remember, in Williamsburg, Gizelle dropped the big bomb about Eddie and the rumors of him cheating on Wendy, which did not set well with Wendy. And I think Wendy gave us the most drama we've had so far this season when she got up in Gizelle's face. Well, not really get up in her face, but she told her ass off pretty much. We'll say that, okay? Eddie, of course, denies these rumors, and for some reason I believe him. Or not just for some reason, but for multiple reasons I believe him. For one, there's no evidence, there are no pictures, there are no text messages, there's no woman coming forward claiming she slept with him. So as far as I'm concerned, this was he said, she said, just for a storyline, and just so Gizelle could take the heat off of her back. And two, the way his body language, demeanor, and the way he talked to his wife about that. This is a good example of how you communicate with your spouse during issues like this. Being combative, being defensive. For those out there watching that are in relationships, when you have an issue like this where you may suspect that your boyfriend, spouse, husband, wife is cheating on you, any signs of combativeness, defensiveness, why do you want to look at my phone? What the hell are you talking about? You know I wouldn't do that shit. What? Those kind of things are dead giveaway, red flags, woohoo, something's going on. Someone who's not cheating is a perfect example of Eddie, who says, this is not true. He's supportive of his wife and her emotions and her feelings, and he lets her know, this is not true. That's a healthy, secure relationship, and it was refreshing to see. So we see Robyn in the next scene. She shows up to Gizelle's house, which I don't want to talk about anybody's home, but I expect more from Gizelle, seeing as that she is on a show that pays more than 6 figures a year. Why her door is broken and Robyn can barely get in the door. I'll be honest with you, my little home looked better than what Gizelle got going on. And I'm just saying, I just don't get it. Anyway, Robyn is showing up because her and Gizelle are starting a podcast, and I could think of a dozen things off the top of my head that I would rather do than listen to Gizelle and Robyn talk for an hour a week or whatever their podcast scheduling is. So they have a show called Reasonably Shady. Well, they got half of that right because they're both shady as hell, but it's not usually reasonably. It's usually unreasonable shade that they're giving on the show. But hey, it wouldn't be the Housewives without that kind of shit, right? So they talk about cheating on the podcast. Robyn says that she's not shocked that Jamal and Gizelle are broken up because she never saw them together. I wonder why. Because it was all a storyline from the beginning. If you remember last season at the reunion, Karen called this shit out. Monique called this shit out. That Gizelle got back together with Jamal for a storyline for the show. And some may think it's just a rumor, but it's very believable for me because when you go on these reality shows, you've got to have something going on in your life for these producers and cameramen to follow. If you don't have anything going on, what are they gonna shoot? They can't just shoot you in group scenes. I mean, we've seen that happen before with like Nene and stuff like that, where you're such a big character that you don't necessarily have to have a storyline, I guess. As long as you're present, that's all that they want. But it was obvious that that Gizelle had said last season, Jamal, look, I need a favor. You know, me and you are never going to be back together, but I need something to talk about on the upcoming season of the show. You know, I'll cut you off a little bit if you want me to. I want you to do this for your girls. This is also putting money in their pocket for me to feed them. So please come on the show, do a scene with me where we go out to dinner so we can make it look like we're back together. I feel like that's what happened with Gizelle and Pastor Holy Whore. Just like Juan and Robyn, by the way. I mean, Gizelle and Robyn are perfect examples. I feel like Juan and Robyn's relationship is strictly for TV. I said that in the last relationship. Maybe not strictly for TV. Let me backpedal a little bit. It's convenient for them to be together. Not only is it great for their kids if they're not arguing and whatnot at home, of course, but it's great for Juan to be around because Robyn's bringing in a lot of money. She's 6 seasons in to this show, and she's probably bringing in a hefty check, and it would be stupid for him to leave at this point. I mean, I know Juan works and has his own career, but still, let's think about it now. Put yourself in those shoes. Let's see, where are we here on the notes? Okay, so we leave the whole podcast recording and we go to Candace's house, which I love Candace's home that she bought. I think I've said that before in prior videos, but every time we see more of their homes, like, I don't know, maybe that's just the interior design loving in me. I love to see their homes. I love the confessional backgrounds every season. And Candace is really upgraded from her townhome that she had. She's at the computer and she's working on her upcoming music video, things for that she's got going. And one of the things I wondered, because Chris walks into the room and I was like, what is Chris doing for money now? I know he says he's managing Candace, but is she paying him? And if she does, it makes you wonder if what Gizelle had said previously is true, that he's kind of riding her coattails in a way. But I don't know. I don't want to say that just yet because further in the episode he says more, which I end up backpedaling on that, and I'll tell you why. Maybe they just haven't mentioned. Candace tells Chris that Gizelle had said she thought Chris may be riding her coattails, and at first I kind of agreed a little bit, but I don't think Candace would be around with someone who was just constantly sucking the life out of her. I believe Chris contributes or she wouldn't have been around. And if that makes them happy and they're happy in that kind of relationship, you know, so be it. Candace also brings up that Ashley came to Williamsburg on the trip. She stayed for a minute, stirred some shit up, and she left, which is what Ashley's good at and we love her for. However, Candace was pissed because she had put this trip together, she hosted it, and she felt like Ashley came just to start trouble and leave. And I mean, Candace read the hell out of Ashley's stomach, her breast milk, and her forehead. And I was like, damn, Candace. Even her husband said, wow, you know, that was a little harsh. And I was thinking, you know, I don't condone violence, but this is why sometimes maybe people put the pause on you, Candace, because you go for the jugular at times. And we all can go for the jugular. I've done it as well. But, I mean, I don't have nobody tagging my head, so on national TV, at least. And I'm starting to like Candace, but it's like, damn, girl, you came for Ashley's neck. And we'll see later in this episode, she really comes for her again, and we'll get to that in a moment. So Ashley and Michael, I don't know, I kind of missed who they were interviewing, but I'm pretty sure it was a baby massage therapist. I'm pretty sure there was something going on with her son. I'm sorry, y'all, I missed that. I meant to rewind it and put it in my notes. Maybe somebody can let me know. But either way, Ashley and Michael went to meet with a specialist for their baby. And this specialist pretty much did different massages on the baby, so they didn't have to put the baby through any kind of take it to any kind of special doctor or something. I'll have to go back and let y'all know more about that in a later video. Anyway, the whole scene really takes place in the car when they leave, so that's what's most important. And one thing that I noticed in the scene was her and Michael were talking about, her, how she just had a baby. He was saying things, oh, you look good, you've lost some weight, you still turn me on. And in a way, like, I want to like Michael and I want to support their relationship 100%. But it almost feels like to me, and I hate to say it, that he's just going to cheat on her again. He seems like a horny old man. I mean, it just is what it is, and I'm going to say it. I think Ashley's smart. She knows when someone's cheating or if her man's cheating on her at the end of the day. If something happens and they do divorce, she's going to be pretty fucking well off without Michael, of course. But something about that car ride and that conversation just didn't sit well with me, because it was just like he made it all about himself. Like, you still turn me on, Oh, don't worry about it. You still look beautiful for me. And I know in a way he was trying to reassure her, but sometimes the way that men communicate, it's just like, you don't have to say it that way. Maybe it was just me. Let me know in the comments below if y'all thought that car ride was a little weird as well. I don't know. Let's see. So the next scene, we have Robyn at home, and she's talking to her young son. And we know Robyn's storyline this season has been about her sleeping a lot, not having energy, not being motivated. And even though it seems like a pretty dull storyline, it is something that's, I think, a lot of people can relate to. I think a lot of people suffer with not just depression, but just feeling unmotivated in life. Robyn says later in the episode that she's not mentally, like, she doesn't feel like she's mentally screwed up or anything. She says she just feels unmotivated. And, that's not uncommon. So she's telling her son about it. She's like, how I've been sleeping all day, how I don't wake you guys up until late. And the son's listening to her, and she says that she's pretty much going to get a life coach. She's almost 42 years old, and she wants to put a change in her life. And I don't see anything wrong with this. In a previous episode, a few episodes before, Robyn said that TJ Maxx and a lot of other big name retailing outlets had reached out to her about her hat line being in their stores, and that she just didn't respond. And that really says something about what she's going through. I don't know, like she said it's not mental, but maybe this life coach can come in and give her that little oomph that she needs to get up and go, because she needs to be there for her kids and her career. I mean, you got to strike while the iron's hot. You're not going to be on the Housewives forever. So now we go to the scene with Mia going to meet her mother for lunch, which is a really powerful scene because, again, this is something that I think viewers at home can really relate to. We all know someone with a drug addiction, and whether that's a parent or not, it can hit home sometimes. And Mia mentioned in the show earlier that she wanted to be careful with the conversation when she met up with her mom, because she didn't want to trigger her into any sort of relapse. While her and her mom are talking, Mia asks her, they get to talking about her dad, and Mia's like, well, what did my dad do? Like, why do you guys not talk? Like, what did he do? And her mom is like, I don't want to talk about that. But Mia's like, why? Why do you not want to talk about it? And her mom immediately says, he introduced me to drugs. And she later says, you remember when you got burned and you had burns all down your arm? And Mia's like, yeah, I remember. I have the burns, but I don't remember exactly what happened. And her mom says, you were making oatmeal, and you were a really young girl, and you spilled oatmeal all down your arm and burned yourself. And I came home from work, and your father was in the basement with another woman. So she explains those things to Mia as to why she doesn't speak to Mia's father anymore. And I can understand, as to what happened between her and Mia's father, and I completely understand that. That had to be challenging to go through, especially when someone introduces you to something that destroyed your, your future. And while she can't forever blame it on me as father, you have to take accountability for your own actions. Like I said, I do get where she's coming from, and I hope that they've been able to move forward from that. I hope that she's forgiven him. I don't know. We didn't really get those answers during this scene. Um, Her mom also said that she tried to commit suicide over Mia's dad. And Mia tells her mom that she never built resentment. And she also says that she wants her mom in her life, regardless of what has happened. And I think that is also powerful as well, because I know a lot of people in life who have had parents who've been on drugs, and whether they're still on drugs or they're not anymore, that child doesn't want anything to do with them. My parent was on drugs, fuck them, those kind of things. And I don't think people really understand until you're actually on drugs and addicted to them how that affects the mind and how you operate and how your mind works and the decisions that you make. So I always tell people to love your parent from afar instead of just shunning them completely and putting them out of your life, because hopefully, I can't say they'll eventually come around, but hopefully they'll come around and you can have that relationship and be able to repair what was broken over the years. And that's obviously what's going on with Mia and her mother. And hopefully throughout the rest of the season, we'll get to see them have a healthy relationship, because her mother looks great. She can tell she's not on anything. And I hope that things go great for them. Oh, they also agreed to meet up more, talk more often. So yeah, like I said, hopefully we'll see more of that. So we then go to Karen, who is at a dress store with looking at dresses for her vow renewal. And then Mia and Karen show up for support to help her, and turns out that the vow renewal is going to be in the same building that she's looking for the dresses, that she's looking at dresses at, which the building inside is beautiful, but the outside looks like a warehouse or a shipping factory or something. It was just kind of odd. Mia had mentioned that. However, the venues slash dress shop was beautiful. Um, let's see. So Mia tells the girls while they're all looking at Karen trying on different dresses that I got a text invite to Robyn's birthday party, and all the girls were invited but you, Karen, and you, Wendy. And Wendy says she understands. She says, I wouldn't want to be there anyway after what me and Gizelle went through. But Mia made a good point. It's not Gizelle's party, it's Robyn's party. But Robyn is obviously probably still hurt over the comments that Wendy made about her and Juan's relationship, so she didn't want Wendy there. Karen, on the other hand, kind of extends an olive branch in a way and tells Mia to tell Gizelle, look, I'm over it and I'll be fine as long as she comes forward and apologizes. And I don't think Gizelle's gonna do that. However, I'm glad to see that we're making some progress to mend a friendship, because I'm kind of getting over and tired of the whole Karen versus Gizelle. Like, I wish they would just kiss and make up already or something, because I'm over them two arguing, even though it is very funny. But they've been arguing since season 1. It's like, oh my God. So we then go to Candiace and Chris, and they're out for lunch, and they're talking about the upcoming music video again. And he's going over the schedule and all that as her manager. He talks about having some cooking classes coming up next week, but Candiace is like, well, I need you here to help do this. And then we find out that Chris is not getting paid to do this, because he says, what do you want me to do? Don't go to my cooking classes and work for you for free? Or are you going to give me an allowance? So he's doing this out of just to be there for his wife, which makes me think completely different about him. Like, I don't feel like there's a riding the coattails or anything like that. If he wants to support his wife and manage her and, save some money, take some stress off of her, why not? And he also brings up during this lunch that, my wife has supported me and came when I owned a restaurant, came in when I was short staffed and bus tables and hosted for me. So why would I not be here for her when she needs me? And I completely understand that. Um, Candace, like I said, is upset that he's working. Um, and like it also confirmed that Chris is cooking again. You remember earlier in the video, I wondered what Chris was doing for money, but he's still obviously teaching cooking classes, apparently, which I'm sure is a great source of income. I mean, who I would love to take that because my ass show can't cook. Um, Candace, like I said, she gets sort of mad. She says that he's not around a lot to support her, and they do some flashbacks of Chris not showing up to different things in the past few months. But at the same time, I think about this and I'm like, well, maybe it was a bad idea for you to hire your husband, Candace, if he does have prior obligations, because if Candace and Chris start having issues working together, it's going to bleed over into their marriage. And why have these unnecessary problems if you don't need them? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. This could either be a blessing or a curse for their relationship with them working together. But if it were me, I would have probably went out and hired someone to manage me other than the person that I lay next to every night. But that's just me. But did y'all notice how the editors and producers tried to play us in that scene? Because while Chris and Candace were kind of going back and forth a little bit, you see Chris get up and walk towards the door, and they play a sound bite of Candace saying, "Check your fucking attitude or I'll cuss you the fuck out." But you never see the words actually or come out of her mouth or her mouth move. And they took that soundbite from a different scene or her confessional or something and added it in there to make her seem like she was cussing Chris out. And that's the things that you got to watch for. You know, when people go on these reality shows, it seems all glamorous and fun. And there's always a puppet master somewhere trying to make things seem worse than what they are. So I can see why marriages sometimes fall apart and have cracks in them, because you got things like this, Aaron. It's like, whoa. You know, you didn't say that. I guess as long as Candace and Chris know that she didn't say that, that's the only two that matters. But it's when those outside opinions start coming in, make you go, So then we get across the screen, it says 3 hours later. And we've got the ladies coming in to Robyn's birthday. And they're like on this little dock, a restaurant on a dock somewhere by the water. And it's most of the girls are there, minus of course Karen and Wendy, because they weren't invited, but Ascala is there as well. So we've got 6 of the girls there, and Ashley, Gizelle, all of them are there. Gizelle asks Ashley while they're there, they bring up the whole Wendy thing, and Gizelle says, "Were you being messy, Ashley, when you went and told Wendy about what I said about the rumors? What Gizelle said was, did you add any hot sauce?" Which means, did you get messy about it? And Ashley is adamant about it. She says, "I wasn't messy when I told her. This is exactly what I told her." And Ascala chimes in and is like, "I don't know about that." And then Candace chimes in and says, "Yeah, that hoe said it. That hoe did it." And Ashley's like, "Excuse me?" And once again, Candace goes for the jugular. And the things that Candace said, "you wide body, big face," whatever she said to Ashley, did not warrant that response. Whatever Ashley had said, whatever they were talking about, it did not warrant Candace to come at her like that. She literally called her a hoe. She called her a wide-bodied ass. And then Ashley says, "So, you're going to body shame me?" And Candace says, "No, you body shame yourself with that big-ass body and your big-ass face." And I'm like, ooh. Now, see, you can read somebody. You can read somebody, and then you can shut the fucking library down. And that's what Candace did. It was a little nasty. It was a little dark. I'm not going to lie. Then it made sense. Candace is obviously going through things in her marriage with her husband and now him being the manager, and they're nitpicking a little bit. And I think she's probably taking things out on Ashley. I don't know. Or does she absolutely hate this girl that much? Because if you think about it, I'm pretty sure Ashley got Candace on the show. Didn't Ashley introduce Candace back on the show in season 3? I'm pretty sure that's how it played out, because they were both beauty pageant queens or something, and that's how they introduced each other. And like I said, I'm really starting to like Candace this season, but I didn't like how she had the nerve to come for her like that. And I'm like, you and Ashley are the same size anyway. Nobody's wide bodied. That's because she had a baby, if that's what you're talking about. And Candace, if you and Chris plan on having a baby, you're gonna end up having a wide body too. I just thought it was wrong. And another thing that I failed to mention in this episode, this is the end of the review, but I've been Team Wendy the whole season. However, now I hope Wendy is really self-reflecting on how she treated Monique last season and how she came in like it was a sorority and teamed up with Gizelle and Robyn and the Mean Girl clique and was kind of mean towards Monique, because everything that Monique tried to tell you last season, Wendy, is now happening to you. And I'm not trying to say I told you so, but Monique told you so. And it's kind of like, she told you about Gizelle, you didn't want to believe her, you turned against Monique, and you went off on her and said her actions were despicable for putting her hands on Candace and all this and that, and now you're going through the same thing. You're in the hot seat this season. You're the sacrificial lamb. So my advice to you, Monique, is to be careful in this reality TV game, because I do like, not Monique, Wendy. I do like Wendy, and I'm team her this season because I do see that she's being ganged up on Gizelle and them, even though we tried telling her last season. Let me know what you thought about this video in the comments below. What did you think about the episode? What team are you on? Team Green Eye Bandit Mean Girls, or Team Pretty Queens with Karen, Mia, and Wendy and all those good girls over there? How do you feel about the episode? Let me know what reality shows that you want me to review in the future. Listen, we got a good fall lineup coming up, because you're going to be getting Real Housewives of Potomac review videos, as well as the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City review, which I promise you do not want to miss this season. We're gearing up for one of the best Housewives seasons in Housewives history. I'm not just saying that. It's getting hot over in Salt Lake City, where it's usually icy. So make sure you tune in each week for my reviews. All your Real Housewives videos are here. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Mwah.